Please begin today in a seat, finding a comfortable seat, cross-legged or easy seat, or maybe sitting on the heels if that's not uncomfortable for the knees. Any seat you choose should allow the spine to remain as tall as possible, creating lots of natural space for air to enter and exit. And as you're seated, beginning to notice the natural flow of the breath. Noticing its pace and temperature, its quality or texture. Using conscious awareness to start to deepen the breath. You'll, if you're not already, be breathing in and out through the nose, allowing belly to rise and fill on inhale, and on exhale, belly contracts back to spine and air releases. Breathing in, you'll fill the belly or bottoms of lungs all the way to upper chest. And on exhale, you'll release all air, drawing navel back to spine, creating a smooth pace of breath, allowing that the inhales match the length of the exhales. With that even breath and attention to it, open the eyes if they're not already. Ensure the shoulders are stacked over the hips in whatever seat you're in. Draw the right hand to the mat or side or floor, perhaps bending at the right elbow and bringing left arm overhead for a stretch. You can keep the neck neutral for now, just gazing ahead. A soft expression in the face. And exhale, release the left hand to the ground, maybe a bend in the left elbow. And lifting right arm overhead, nice side body stretch. Again, keeping soft expression on the face. And exhale to release back to the center. One more time, inhale, lengthen through crown of head, place the right hand to the ground. Maybe bend the arm or elbow. Exhale, extend left arm across the body, gazing ahead. Fill on inhale, expanding left rib cage. Exhale, maybe stretch deeper. Inhale, back up to center. Exhale, release left hand to ground, bending elbow maybe. Inhale, right arm overhead. Neutral neck. Fill on inhale, expanding right rib cage. Exhale, maybe deepen. Inhale, lengthen back to center, and exhale, release the hands. Come over to a tabletop position, keeping the knees right underneath the hips, wrists under the shoulders, and just shift your weight into your left hand and make a few circles with your right hand to warm the wrist. Forward and backward, replacing the right hand, making a few circles with the left wrist, forward and backward. And then doing the same thing with the right knee, a few circles, or right hip, forward and backward. And with the left hip, knee, a few circles, forward and backward. Walk the hands forward, bring the body to a 45-degree angle, allowing the shoulders to remain over the fingers, just keeping a neutral neck, activating the core, pulling belly in towards the spine. Keeping that activation, curl the toes under, press up to plank pose. So fingertips spread wide, support through all 10 fingers, pressing through the heels. Body is parallel to ground. Make sure your butt's not too high or too low. You want to keep that active press through the heels away from the head to not compromise low back. Gaze is down at the mat. Steady breath in and out. Take 3 more. On the exhale, soften down to the knees. And then come back to child's pose, allowing the bottom to come towards heels. Hands can remain extended in front of you, or hands can come behind, resting if that is better for the shoulders. Forehead can come all the way to ground your mat. Walk the hands back forward if they're not there. Shifting the body forward to that 45-degree angle, shoulders over the wrists. Engage the core, neutralize the neck and expression on your face. Keeping core engaged, curl the toes under, press up to plank pose, pressing heels away from head, gaze to mat. Neck is long, extension of the spine. 3 more breaths. Press into all 10 fingers, spreading the fingertips out wide, distributing weight. On your exhale this time, press back to downward facing dog, sending hips away from hands here. So my heels touch the mat, yours do not have to. You can find a nice healthy bend in the knees, just making sure that the spine is long. You're in alignment with your arms. So long arms, long spine, knees can stay bent or legs straight. Just looking to keep the hips pressed away from the hands, open space in the chest, relaxing the head and neck, maybe the grip of the jaw. And slowly on the exhale, walk forward towards the top of your mat or space, coming to forward fold or Uttanasana. Allowing any distance, maybe a little bit of distance, maybe hips distance apart of the feet, and just allowing the body, upper body, to hang and relax here. You can be as high or as low as your body suits. Just sending the weight forward towards the toes, keeping a bend to the knees to protect the low back. It can be a small or a big bend. On inhale, you'll find a slow rise coming up to standing, keeping the belly engaged, navel pulled to spine, so you come up to find Tadasana. So in your standing pose, mountain pose, Tadasana, hips are going to be facing directly forward. I prefer my feet hips distance apart. Others' feet can be closer, whatever helps you to feel the most comfortable and grounded. Tailbone points down here. Kneecaps relax and soften. Arms can remain at the side. If you like, arms can remain up ahead. Gaze can be neutral, or for a challenge to balance, arms up. Either way, find length, head to toes, a sense of grounding through all surfaces, pads of feet, a sense of pride in your gaze and fullness in your breath. On exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana, bending from hips. Bring the hands to shins or the ground, press up halfway, flattening the back, gazes to mat on your inhale. Exhale, plant the hands, step right back to that plank pose. Shoulders over wrists, heels press away from the head, stay here, lower to the knees, or lower all the way to the ground. If you are moving through chaturanga, keeping the elbows bent as you lower and being sure to keep that bend at a 90-degree angle before you flip to upward facing dog, thighs off the mat, and pressing back to downward facing dog. If you're from plank pose coming down to the knees, you can still keep the chaturanga arms, bending the elbows as you lower down, coming to low cobra or upward facing dog before coming back to downward facing dog. Either way, in down dog, take a few breaths. If you need to move, move. If stillness feels good, find that stillness. Perhaps your knees are slightly bent. Perhaps they're not. Either way, keep the continual press of the hips away from the hands and relax the head, keeping a soft space between shoulders and ears. Notice the equal parts For equal length of the inhales and the exhales, drawing the attention to the breath. On an exhale, a bend to the knees, a gaze ahead, traveling however you need towards the top of your space. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Lifting halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale as you fold back to Uttanasana. Inhale, slowly rise, finding Tadasana. Or Urdhva Hastasana, hands lifted, and exhale, bring hands to heart center. Moving through a few more to keep engaged. Move through a few more. Feel free to move faster or slower than I. Inhale, gaze up, lengthen. Exhale, bend from the hips to fold forward. Inhale, halfway, lengthen the spine, full breath. Exhale, plant the palms, step back to plank. Lower high to low plank, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog, engage inner thighs. Exhale, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Find a few full breaths. Try not to find any sense of rush. Again, pay attention to the texture and quality of the breath. On your last exhale, bend to the knees, gaze ahead, traveling however is needed towards the top of your space. Lengthen halfway on inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, release. Inhale, find standing, find length or root through heels, maybe gazing up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Again, lengthen, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Draw the shoulder blades back. Exhale, high to low plank, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Hips away from hands, few long breaths. Soften the jaw, expression on the face. On the exhale, bring the bend of the knees, a gaze ahead, and travel to top of space. Hands to shins, thighs, mat. Lift halfway on inhale. Exhale as you fold and soften. Inhale as you rise to standing, find length. Exhale, bring hands to heart center. Shift your weight to the left foot. Come to a tree pose here, bringing a bend to the left knee and the right foot to the left ankle. Just starting off with a nice small balance, trying to keep the foot to the ankle, not trying to raise it any higher or lower, getting a sense of your balance and bearings. Keeping the belly pulled into the spine, lengthening head to toe. Finding expanse here while still keeping the knee nice and wide and open, hips face forward. If you're balanced, you can lift the hands and gaze up. 2 more breaths here. Exhale as you release, bringing both feet back to the ground. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Shift the weight into the right foot, bending the right knee, bringing left foot to right ankle. So you're keeping a small bend in the standing leg, keeping a nice wide knee. Again, lengthening head to toe. Finding your bearings, finding your center. Maybe a sense of alignment. Maybe it feels a bit misaligned. If you feel a misalignment, maybe a greater focus on the breath. Observing the belly and rib cage rise and fall with your inhales and exhales. Again, if balanced, you can lift the arms and gaze. Exhale, releasing back to standing. Lift the arms on inhale. Exhale through vinyasa, forward fold. halfway up on next inhale. Exhale, high to low plank, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, send right leg skyward. Exhale, pulse right knee in towards chest or nose. Hold it here for a moment, pulling the knee in and up, sucking like a vacuum. Release that right foot to the ground. Keep the back left heel off the ground. Inhale, up, crescent lunge. High crescent lunge. Here, the right thigh. We'll try to aim to be close to parallel to the ground. Right knee over ankle. Press into that back left heel. A lift of the arms, shoulders relaxed. Should feel a nice deep stretch in front of hip, left hip. On the exhale, release both hands to the ground. Keep left hand here. Open right arm skyward. Easy twist, keeping back leg lifted. Keeping the shoulder blades plugged down and into the spine. Right knee hugged into chest. With the same balance and focus, press into the front left hand and right toes. Start to pulse and shift the weight forward, lifting up into a revolved half moon. So maybe lifting the left fingertips as you send the weight up or forward, and lift to help give the chest a greater rotation, open to the ceiling. Keep the back foot flexed, front knee, right knee bent. If you like, you can always add a bind here. On the exhale, you'll find yourself back into a twisted lunge. Soften down to the back knee, and then see if you can find a bind here. Even if you come close, you'll find a nice expansion or opening in chest. If you are able to connect, focusing on a deeper stretch in the quad. Steady breath. As you exhale, release back to a plank pose. Shoulders over wrists. Exhale, hide it low. Inhale, upward dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg skyward. Exhale, pulse the knee in towards the chest or nose. Hold it here, sucking it in, pulling it in and up. Then release the left foot to the mat in between hands. Keep pressing through back right heel, inhaling up to high crescent lunge. Left thigh is close to parallel. Left heel under the left ankle, pressing through back right heel. Shoulders are soft. Hips facing forward. Nice deep stretch and hip flexors, psoas, in front of the body. Inhale, find length, create space. Exhale, release both hands to the ground. Right hand stays under shoulder. Inhale, open, left arm twisting, keeping back knee lifted. And again, shifting the weight forward to the left hand and right fingers, or maybe lifting the right fingers when you're ready to lift, finding a balance, pulling navel into spine to revolve half moon, Parvata Ardha Chandrasana. Keeping left shoulder open to ceiling, right foot flexed, or if you'd like to find a bind, that's okay too. Steady breath here. As you release, you'll come back down to that twisted lunge. Left arm is skyward, find a deeper expanse in chest. And you can soften down to the right knee and release that left arm behind chest for a nice expansion, or also add a bind here so the right quad can find a nice deep stretch. Really find the ease that you have here with the front of body open to create nice full inhales, and an opportunity to release old stale air on the exhales. On the exhale, release both hands back to frame the front foot, press back to plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga, high to low. Inhale, upward dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. On the exhale, bend the knees, look ahead, travel the top of matter space. Lift halfway up on inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, flatten back. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, bend the knees, draw the tailbone to point down and arms up. Chair pose, Uttanasana. Here, bring hands to heart center on the exhale. From chair pose, shift the weight into the right foot and start to bring the left foot back or raised, sending the body into an airplane or sort of modified warrior 3. So right knee is bent, left leg is lifted, left foot is flexed towards the ground. Back is nice and flat. If you'd like, you can extend your arms out to a T or out in front of you. Really focusing on steady breath, long inhales and exhales. As you release, slowly come back to chair pose, lowering the foot down, tailbone pointed down as arms lift. And exhale, shift sides, weight to the left foot, a bend to the left knee, releasing right foot skyward. Right foot is flexed towards ground. Pinky toe faces down to rotate the inner thigh inward or towards the ground, keeping back flat and chest open. Steady breath. Just breathing long inhales and exhales. On the exhale, releasing back to chair pose, Uttanasana, knees bent, tailbone points down. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale halfway. Exhale, plant the palms. Find your way to plank pose. Hold plank pose, lifting right leg off the ground or mat. Lowering right foot, lifting left leg off the ground mat. Shoulders remain over wrists, gaze to mat. And exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Walk the feet up nice and close towards, or at least 6 inches, a foot in closer to shorten your stance, feet closer to hands. Keep the left hand rooted. Bring right hands to the left leg, outer leg, shin, thigh, wherever you can reach, and pull for a nice twist here. Twisting under the left arm across the body. Relaxing the neck. Releasing right hand back to the top, and same thing, bringing left hand across the body wherever you can reach, thigh, shin, ankle. Bringing the twist underneath right arm. Feeling free to close the eyes, of course. As you release back to downward facing dog, press heels away from the hands, maybe adjusting the stance. Inhale, right leg skyward. Exhale, pulse right knee in. Inhale, lengthen right leg, bend the knee, open up the hip, skyward, keeping the shoulders facing the mat. Right knee bends and opens as the right hip stacks over left. And then exhale, release back to downward facing dog. Lift the left leg on inhale. Pulse knee to nose. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen. Open up the hip. And then from here, releasing back to downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Keep the hands where they are. Press up and back to child's pose. And allow a wide knee child's pose. So creating some space in between the knees. Perhaps walking the hands back out, maybe relaxing forehead towards ground. From here, keeping the length as you walk the fingertips up and over to the right side. So creating a greater stretch on the left side of body. If you have space or are comfortable still, you can cross the left hand over the right for a deeper stretch. Keep both hips grounded. Walk hands back to the center, finding that same length, and over to the left side, finding a nice side of stretch on the right side of body. For a deeper stretch, right hand can cross over the left, keeping the hips grounded, the heels. Hands back to the center, coming up to tabletop position, bringing the feet through, coming through to a seat. From that seat, keeping the feet extended in front of you. The sit bones are connected to the mat, so you might pull the skin and release it from the sit bones, finding length for the arms on inhale, and exhale, extending forward to the feet. Seated forward fold, or Paschimottanasana. From here, you want to make sure the legs are connected to the ground fully. No matter where your arms connect, at the feet, ankles, shins, thighs, just keep the connection to the ground, find a place where the hands connect, and find a small grip. Keeping the shoulders and head and neck relaxed, not worrying about how high or how low you find yourself. Come back to that same focus of the breath, its quality and texture. You release, you'll lift back up and then scoot the body forward so the feet are about 6 inches apart and 6 inches below the bottom, and you'll come lying down in the back, preparing for bridge pose, seat to Tadasana. So bottom will be connected to the ground, feet are hips distance apart, about 6 inches below the bottom. Hands will stay connected to the ground as well. Fill on inhale. Release on exhale. Inhale, fill the chest, bottoms of lungs, upper chest. And exhale, press through the feet and hands, lift the hips skyward. If you're comfortable here and there are not complications with your neck, you can lift one shoulder at a time and tuck and roll the shoulders under, perhaps even interlacing the fingers underneath, making sure that the feet are still hips distance apart and you're finding a nice lift through the hips and bottom. If this is comfortable and you want to add a challenge, you can always lift one leg at a time, still keeping the hips and bottom in the same place. Either way, you're breathing here. So here there tends to be a lot of active engagement, squeezing the glutes, the butt muscles. So try to see if you can focus the engagement in the inner thighs, squeezing inner thighs together, softening the glutes just a little bit. The neck is just connected to the ground, the gaze is facing up, not really tucking the chin, you're just allowing the head to be supported and neck facing up. There should be space between the chin and the chest. One more full breath. And then exhale, lower the bottom down and just remain here, walking the feet out to the sides, knocking the knees in and just relaxing the hands. If you'd like a more receptive feeling, palms can face up. To feel more grounded, you can place them down or to the belly and chest. Just letting the spine neutralize and settle for a moment before moving on. And when you're ready, you can pull the knees in towards the chest and give yourself a little hug or find a few rocks side to side. If you like to open to happy baby, feel free to do so, or just continue rocking, massaging the adrenal glands, kidneys. And from here, I invite you to draw the feet to the ground, soles of the feet together, and knees coming wide into Supta Baddha Konasana, reclining bound angle pose. So if it's too much for your knees or hips, feel free to separate the distance between the feet and the groin. If it's okay for you, you'll keep the knees falling as they are. If you feel any tension or pressure anywhere that doesn't feel comfortable, please just invite the legs to come long. Your arms can be relaxed to the sides, again for a more receptive feeling, palms facing up. Or to feel more grounded, perhaps you place the palms on the thighs, or on the belly, or chest, or heart. Might still be paying attention to that breath, its quality or texture. Just sort of noticing as the body is settling from movement towards stillness. If you can, letting go of any control over the breathing. And just working to a place of allowing your body to be supported here in this space with your mat. Perhaps sending a little sense of appreciation to the body for supporting you in your practice in life, of course. You may keep a small separation between the lips, allowing air to exit. The eyelids might feel nice and heavy, or the head sunken into the mat. Just let the inhales come and nourish the body, and let the exhales carry away anything that's not needed. very slowly start to deepen the breath, bringing length to the inhale, greater length to the exhale, bringing a bit more awareness back into the body. Perhaps making a small shift if you are still in Supta Baddha Konasana, allowing the knees to come together, or if your legs are extended long, drawing the knees up towards the ceiling and soles of feet to the mat. Keeping the eyes closed, just circulating a bit more energy and awareness throughout the body. And when you feel it's time, feel free to stay where you are, of course. Just come up to a seat, allowing, again, a tall spine, any seat that's comfortable for you. Keeping the shoulders stacked over the hips. Maybe allowing the shoulders to feel just a bit heavier, the body a bit heavier and grounded. Yet a lightness in the upper body, maybe an expanse in the heart. Taking a moment to perhaps bring the palms to heart center, or maybe lower the head to the hands to reflect and honor your practice. Maybe acknowledging one palm to represent you, the opposite palm, the universe, noting the strength that binds them. Namaste. Thanks for joining me for practice. Hopefully you enjoy and have a wonderful day or evening, and see you again soon.